Hi, and welcome to our podcast, Learning, Leading Now, where we talk all things Mobile County Public Schools and education. I am your host, Renee Phillips, Director of Communication for Mobile County Public Schools, joined by host
Sally Erickson, Community Engagement Specialist.
And our special guest today,
Zach Golson. I'm the head football coach at Mary Montgomery High School.
Welcome.
Thank y'all. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So on this podcast, we are parents, we're employees. So we talk a lot about how, we do both somehow. And then this week, I don't know how we're doing it as we're ending the third quarter, but you have several children.
I do. I've got 4 little ones, kindergarten, 2nd grade, 5th grade, and 7th grade. So we're wide open, all the different extracurricular activities, and it's nonstop, but it's a lot of fun.
Kindergarten through 7th grade?
Yep.
7th. I have a 7th grader. That's a fun age.
Yeah, it's been interesting. The last year has been interesting, but it's been good. My oldest is a girl, my 2 middle are boys, and my youngest is a girl. So we're learning together.
That's awesome.
My 7th grader is a boy, and I tell parents there's a switch. We went through this with our first one and now our second one, some type of switch that goes off in 7th grade where mom and dad aren't cool anymore and they know more than you.
They know more than you. All of a sudden, they know more. It's interesting. My girl and my wife are, they're trying to probably learn through it more. Dad still, she still trusts me a little bit more right now, but anyway.
Daddy's girl.
That's right. So.
Yep. And I have boys, so they can be mama's boys. I shouldn't say that on a podcast, but yeah, there's that natural flow. But yeah, and then my second one, he's like, I'm not going to do that. And now I see him doing it, and I'm like, no, what happened? Because it's such an interesting transition, too, from 7th to 8th.
Yeah.
And then high school when you get them.
It's interesting time. It's a lot of fun. You're seeing so much growth every day and all the different things that they're doing and who they're becoming as people. That's one of the things I enjoy the most about teaching this age group is you do get to see that growth, and hopefully we're having the right kind of impact and able to teach them how to do the right things, make good decisions, make good choices, and that's what I think is part of the most rewarding thing that we get to do. Yeah,
because parents can't do it alone.
That's right. It takes a village, and from coaches to teachers to administrators, it really is it's everybody, and parents too. We need their support. It takes everybody being on the same page to see them develop the way you want them to.
And because so much is going on in their heads at that age. So what can we do to help them?
I think it gets back to just trying to teach them how to make good choices, how to choose right from wrong, and showing them a path of here's how we go about our business. Here's the structure of how we can do things, the processes of how we can do things that lead to successful, situations. And that's what we try to do, at least within our program. And what I try to do as a parent, and obviously none of us are perfect and we fall short, but hopefully that's what we're all trying to work towards together.
Right. So it's making good choices every single day, right? And reminding them to do that.
Yeah, we talk to ours all the time about you're gonna get to make hundreds of choices a day, and unfortunately, when you choose make a bad decision, it can affect you in a large way. Whereas if you make 99 good choices, sometimes that one bad one can really affect you. So while we know you're not going to be perfect, we try to say just don't make the same mistake twice. When you make a mistake, learn from it, don't do it again. And that's one thing I think we've seen that with our players and just how they interact on a daily basis is usually if a guy makes a mistake, he doesn't make the same mistake twice. So that's a lot of fun to see when they are taking the coaching or taking the teaching and applying it.
Well, that's good news. We're doing that at my house right now. The importance of make those choices to do your homework. Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, ours have done a good job. All of mine right now have done a really good job in the classroom. I'm thankful that they enjoy it. They enjoy school. And I think that, again, it starts at home. We're always going to be on top of their grades and checking their grades and talking to them about their grades. And, if it's important to the parents at home, it's going to be important to the kid. And so that's the challenge that I would send to all of our parents is, hey, if you want it to be important to them, it's got to be important to you. So that's what we try to make sure we do.
Well, Coach, I'm glad you brought that up because I think it's such an important role that the coach has in the life of a student athlete. And I think maybe parents don't necessarily realize how important the whole team concept is to student success as athletes, because the bottom line is you want to play. And if you don't make good grades, you don't get to play. So maybe you could talk a little bit about more of your role as an instructor.
Yeah, I mean, right now I teach PE at our school, and one of the things that we do within our football program is that we're involved. We do a grade checks throughout the semester and study halls for our guys that anybody that's below a C and anybody that's got above a C can come. We offer a chance for tutoring and things like that. And we're thankful we have a great support system with our teachers and our administrators that offer, basically come tutor guys during our study hall, which has really been helpful to our kids and our players. That's probably the biggest things that we do from an academic standpoint. And we just check their grades. I go back to, even with mine at home, if they know that I'm checking, they're going to make sure they keep them up.
Right.
If they think nobody's worried about it, or they're not if there's no accountability to it, then that's where you see it start to slack. But as long as usually when we stay on top of them, we check them and, hey, why do you have a C in English right now? Or, why is that a 88 and not a 90? Our guys know that, hey, they're looking, they're checking. So I'm going to make sure I'm doing right and trying to make A's. And we try to reward guys that make all A's or make A's and B's. And so, there's all the different things that we do, positive reinforcement. And then, maybe, hey, it could be as simple as you're not doing your homework. That's why you have a C or a 68 instead of a 70. And so, whatever that is, we try to help them get that done. Usually it's simple things like didn't do a daily grade or whatever the case, didn't do my homework or didn't turn in an assignment. So usually when they get those things made up, their grades go up. And again, that gets back to just checking in on them and accountability. So.
I'm going to play that part of our podcast for my 9th grader. It's not just me saying it, but it's the homework and that's the good thing about Schoology is that we as parents and as teachers can check it. And like, for example, when you check it, like they'll do well. And then like I missed a week and then I looked on and one grade had gone down a whole letter grade. Because of 2 missed homework assignments. So stuff like that, you have to stay on your children, your players, your students, and just encourage them to make those good decisions.
That's it.
Well, and I think one effective aspect of the whole team concept is if you don't do well in school and you can't play, you're not just letting yourself down or your parents, you're letting down the entire team.
That's right. No doubt. And we do a thing in the off season that I think has been really good to us. We split our entire team into 6 different teams. And so we keep score with everything, attendance, grades. We have competitions daily, weightlifting. We play a little football game on Friday just to keep football a part of it. But we keep score with everything.
And little families staying together and encouraging each other.
We have team captains. We split up. We have 6 team captains. They have co-captains, and we teach them. We do leadership courses on, how to get the most out of people around you and things like that. And a lot of it, and I tell our guys all the time, 90% of the game is just show up. Just show up. If you're there, you're beating most people and every day. Now, that's not easy to show up every day. That's, just waking up and making that choice of, hey, I'm going to go do the best I can all day today. And that's a challenge for everybody. And so, our guys have bought into that, and we're not perfect by any means. And, when they're not there or whatever the case may be, it starts with our leadership council. They reach out to guys and say, hey, where are you? And then a coach is going to reach out, hey, where are you today? And I think that, when you do that, that's going to help guys realize, hey, I need to show up every day. And again, that goes back to homework and doing my daily grades.
I've got to be accountable.
I got to be there. If I'm there and I'm engaged, then I've got a chance to be successful. So.
Because there's so much that they do all day long. And I have a son who plays soccer, and that's one thing that sometimes it's, can I skip practice?
Yeah.
And then you're like, no, because if you want to get playing time, you need to be there. And he's usually there, but every once in a while he tries can I skip? No. Because they rely on you to be there. And even in the rain, they practice.
Yeah, human nature, I think, sometimes is what's the easy way out,
Yeah.
right? Whether you're tired or whether you don't feel well or, whatever the case may be, that human nature says, I think I'll just stay home today, or I'll just sleep in, or whatever the case is, or I don't have to work out today, or maybe I don't need to do that homework assignment. I can still make an okay grade. Whereas what we want to teach them is, hey, if you want to be great, if you want to achieve something special and be great at something, if you want a scholarship, maybe, hey, let's start with academics. Anything that you want to do, number one is show up and do the best that you can. And like I said, it starts with accountability to that, and our teachers do a good job of that, and coaches do a good job. We have a really good staff of guys: basketball, baseball, softball, band, cheer, soccer, of just a group of coaches that all kind of have that same mentality. And I think you see that throughout the teams that we have at Mary Montgomery, the success that we've had. Basketball, 20 wins this year. Baseball started out strong. Softball strong. Soccer 7-3 right now. I think that you see that within all of our programs. So it's really cool to see.
Well, Coach, I think it'd be fun for you to tell us a little bit about what it was like when you came to Mary G. Montgomery. You were hired to turn around a program that had not been doing so well in recent years, and you've just had a stunning success with it. Can you tell us a little bit about what it was like to kind of change that culture, I guess?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. When I was approached about the possibility of coming to Mary Montgomery, I was actually approached about 4 years before, and I was like, no, there's no way I'm going to go to Mary Montgomery. And then a few years later, Mr. Furl, Marlon Furl, approached me again about the opportunity, and I came and met with him, and we talked about his vision, and he felt like he had gotten a lot of the other programs and the school environment in a place where he wanted it, but the football had still struggled. They were 0-10. 1-9, 0-10 before we got there, and we played them. I was at Daphne at the time. We played Mary Montgomery at Mary Montgomery, and I'll never forget pulling up on the bus, and when we first pulled up, just seeing the facilities and the environment, and just thinking, man, this could be just a lot better. And one of the first things we did. And one of the first things I noticed when we pulled up, every athletic building on the campus was painted a different color. Oh. They were blue, there was gray, there was different shades of blue. So one of the things that we tried to do when we first got there was we came in and we painted every building, every athletic building. They're all black with our blue, our light blue.
Consistency and branding. Sally and I like that.
It was a big deal. We painted it
very effective.
From a football standpoint, we painted the floors and the inside of walls. It was a complete overdue of our facilities. And part of that is we want to make our facility as efficient as we can so we can get the most out of our time. Because, in the world we live in right now, there's a lot of other things that kids can be doing that adults can be doing. I have 4 kids. I want to maximize the time that we have together, but also want to do other things. I want to be able to spend time with my family and things like that. So that's what we looked at, is how can we maximize the space that we have and make it as efficient as possible for our players and for our coaches. And again, we had the support of MCPSS and Mr. Furl, and since Mr. Furl left, and Chip Minton is now our principal, Haley Colbers, our athletic director, they've been extremely supportive in our vision of how we can do that, and we're still in that process. Now we're adding turf field, which is something that's going to be very beneficial. When we first got there, we missed 3 or 4 practices because it rained so much here, and the fields would just flood. And again, that's a facility thing that we needed to get improved, and we've kind of pitched that to our board member and to our principal, and they've done a great job of taking our thoughts and our vision and helping make those things happen. So, again, thankful for that, and it's going to help us a lot in the future to be able to train our kids efficiently. And so there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot that goes into our yearly calendar. The 2 things I always talk about when we talk about what kind of helped us change our program is people and processes. When when we first got there, we had a complete overhaul to our staff. We hired an entirely new coaching staff. We got about 10 guys on our staff that are all, from different programs, places that have been successful, that had seen it done at a high level. Thought that was really important. When we got there were 40 kids on the roster. We've got 128, 10 through 12 right now, and we'll add another 50 freshmen. So we've got about 180 guys in our program right
There's
now.
40 kids in are you 6A, 7A? 7A, because you're a big school. That's hard to compete with just 40.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to compete with just 40 kids. And I think there were probably more at the beginning of the season, and they probably lost guys throughout the year. But when we got there were 40 guys in a workout class. And, within 2 weeks, there was 160 kids that wanted to play. Now, not all of them, were able to make it through, but there have been, like I said, we had 123 that are going to be 10 through 12 that worked out this week. And so those things are really important to us. One of the things that we talked about when we first got there was show up, don't quit. And that's not always easy because we are, we're going to push you, and it's not, day to day, the things that we do are going to be challenging, and we're going to, try to get your body to do things that maybe you've never even tried to do before from a conditioning standpoint, a strength standpoint. And, but we got a lot of great people. The kids there work extremely hard. They bought into what we've tried to do. It is interesting. The first year, we put it in a lot of work, and the kids have worked extremely hard, and we started 0-4. And people talk about that. Some people know about it, some people don't, but we did. We started 0-4, and they continued to believe, though, that we were doing the right things. We had lost 3 games by 1 point and been in 2 overtime games, so they were seeing that we were close.
Yeah.
And we were able to get over the hump and win 6 games down the stretch. Went 6-0. After starting 0-4, went 6-0 to finish the season, and then we got beat by Phoenix City in the playoffs. And then it became, how are we going to beat Phoenix City? And so, they beat us pretty bad, 58-7, I think, the first time we played them that first year. But this past year, we went 12-0, got to see them again and closed the gap down. It was a 21-7 game.
Fantastic.
We had a lot of chances in that game. So we've definitely made progress, and, again, thankful for the kids and our staff for buying into how we do things. And there's a lot to it. There's the day-to-day and the yearly calendar are a lot, but people and processes, that's the thing. Having a plan for the day-to-day, for the month-to-month, and we try to break it into 4 different phases of winter workouts, spring workouts, summer workouts, and then obviously the fall season is a big part of the year, but that's the main part. But all the things that go into the other 3 phases are really what helps you be successful in that last phase. So,
Because to reiterate what Sally was getting at is, and I'm going to get this wrong probably, I know we recognized you at the board meeting, but it was only your second time going undefeated, I believe.
Yeah, 1965 was the last time.
Just a few years ago, 1965. And then also it was your first time to get to the semifinals, right, in the playoffs?
It was the first time they had ever won a playoff game in the history of the school.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
We won 2 of them, so that was pretty cool. And we had a great group of players, really talented kids. And so that obviously always helps. And I think when you combine talented kids and coaches and good processes, I think that's what can allow you to be successful. So,
speaking of coaches, you and your assistant have both recently been named 7A Coach and Assistant Coach of the Year.
Yeah, this past year, the sports writers and the Alabama Coaches Association recognized me for the Coach of the Year, and then sports writers again this year, and then my DC, the Alabama Coaches Association, recognized him as the Assistant Coach of the Year. So it's very, obviously an honor. I tell our guys all the time, anytime we get an individual award, it's a reflection of our team and everybody involved. So thankful to be recognized for it, and really thankful for the people that have put in the work, behind the scene and just around us that have made that possible.
And how are your students doing? Your players?
Oh, they're killing it. They've Jared Hollins is a guy that most people know that signed at South Alabama. He was our quarterback. I think we're going to have somewhere between 10 and 12 of our seniors that will end up signing to go play college football somewhere. We're still got a few guys that are working on narrowing down their decision. It's definitely a different challenge right now for everybody from a recruiting standpoint. The transfer portal and NIL have changed the game big time in college sports. But we're kind of navigating our way through it, and we're not going to make any excuses and try to figure out how can we help our kids, find a way to play at the next level if that's what they want to do. And it's not easy right now, but I think sometimes you got to accept maybe a lower level than what you had wanted. But what's happening is a lot of those lower level guys are transferring up if they continue to develop and do the things that they need to do, because there's a lot of really good players that are there's no opportunities to go because transfer portal.
Yeah.
The coaches at that level are wanting guys that are older and bigger and stronger, and it just takes time for some of that stuff to happen. So sometimes you got to start at a lower level and work your way up. But I think our guys are excited about that, and I think we're going to have 10 or 12 guys that end up signing to go different places. So it's pretty cool.
That's very exciting.
That's great. And just a whole different landscape from when you started coaching.
Oh,
isn't
yes.
it?
Major difference, even in the last 5 years. Just it's constantly evolving. And I think, some people are going to argue that it's not a good thing, but there are some positive things. And I think over time they're going to work through the bugs of, maybe some of the negative things that are happening. But, the fact that there's a lot of money in athletics, and people are, I think for a long time, coaches and schools have profited off of athletes. And I think it's a good thing for the athletes to be able to share in that revenue. Obviously, getting an education and being able to create value for yourself, has always been a good thing and important. What I hope is we don't lose that. We need to keep that. That needs to be something that stays a part of our game and a part of athletics. But I do think that there's just so much money in it that it's kind of unfair that the players don't get to share in that. And so hopefully they figure out all the complications that creates, and it smooths itself out over time. I think it will. There's a lot of smart people out there, so I think they'll figure it out.
And probably a challenge of that too is our kids, they see the money that NFL players make, for example, and that they want to be them, but the likelihood of going to that level is pretty low.
Yeah.
So you need that education.
Yeah, the education's it's still the number one thing. It's got to be, to me. Like I said, it is. There's a small chance to go to the NFL, and it's when a football and really all sports, all athletics, you're putting your body on the line. You're risking injury and fatigue and all the different things. So the people that are putting their bodies on the line certainly deserve to have some type of revenue share. What exactly, how exactly to do it the right way, make it fair and equal to as many people as possible, I think, is what they got to kind of work through. And I think they're trying right now. So.
Well, and as a coach, you're motivating these young players to do the very best that they can. But you probably also have to focus on reality for their futures and explain, this is why education is so important. Not everyone's going to get to this highest level. Maybe you're going to be a broadcaster. Maybe you're going to have a successful business. So I know you want to temper their enthusiasm with reality, but you also don't want to discourage them because you want them to play as hard as they can.
Yeah, we tell ours all the time, dream big. Dream as big as you can, because I did the same thing as a former student athlete. I dreamed of playing. I walked on at Alabama, so I was fortunate to have that opportunity. The reality was I wasn't quite good enough to play at Alabama. I ended up playing at Huntington in Montgomery, which is a Division III school. The thing I try to tell guys is, if you get a chance to go play college football, it is a fraternity in itself. Any college athletics is a fraternity of people that, there's very few people that can do it. They can say they did it. And to be able to take on that challenge and to make it through 4 years and get a college degree and play college athletics, there's a very small percentage of people that can even do that. And so if you get that opportunity, take advantage of it. And even if it costs you, a good example at Huntington, it cost me the same thing to go to Huntington as it would have to be a regular student at Alabama. I chose to go to school there and play football and it was not easy at times, but I chose to do that so I could, all the things that come with athletics, the discipline, the structure, the relationships. I was very fortunate, and I'm thankful for those same things now. And again, I think so back to high school, I think the same things, like we're going to have a group of kids. We have 12 that are going to get to go play, but there's another 30 seniors or 25 seniors that aren't going to get to go play. But I think every one of them is a better person and a better student for being a part of our program. And they appreciate that.
The camaraderie, I think. My seventh grader, he's the seventh and eighth graders on the team, and he's the young one and also the smallest one, but the older ones cheer for him. And so he actually scored a goal in their last game, and they were all like, woohoo! And he said, I love being on a sports team. And so it's just that encouragement, I think, that you get from each other, like you said, that, and that's been fun to watch.
It has. And we had guys, we had seniors on our team that would rarely play, if at all, played at all. But they went through every practice, they went through every workout. And I think, again, just being a part of a brotherhood, we try to create a family.
Or sisterhood.
Or sisterhood. I think that's why athletics are so important. And I think that, again, the kids even the ones that didn't play, they're going to look back on this season and the memories that they made, the relationships that they have built. And I think it's going to be a positive memory for them and something they'll never forget.
The bus rides, the pep talks.
All those things. That's right.
And two, we love that it gives them a reason to go to school also.
That's it.
Right? It's a little more fun than math, right?
A little more fun. And we talk about that with our teams and the things we do in the off season. We make it fun. It is challenging, but it is fun. And our coaches have fun. And, I think that energy spreads throughout our team, our family, and that's what we want. And again, I think that's why we have the numbers that we do, because we create an environment where kids want to be a part of it. We turn the music up, we have fun, and they get that energy out and get to compete and try to improve themselves every day.
I saw a little bit of that this past summer because we had our intern, and so I brought her along, and we came and visited to one of your practices.
Yep.
And you could just feel the energy and the enthusiasm just walking into the workout room. So I
appreciate that. We try. We're very intentional with that. Again, we want to create an environment that kids want to be a part of, and hopefully, it gets back to why we got into this. Hopefully, to influence people in a positive way. And I think, to do that, we've got to bring the right kind of energy, and hopefully we have success and they can buy into all the things that we're telling them, not just how to be a better football player, but also how to be a better person, how to be a better man, how to one day be a great father and a great husband. And, those are the things that, I got from the coaches that I played for, and it's the reason that, that I wanted to get into coaching. And so, again, thankful to be able to do it and, be able to create a program where kids are enjoying it.
That's fantastic.
It is fantastic. And then we love seeing that trickle not only to the football, to the band, to the cheerleaders, to the other sports. And as y'all get teased sometimes at the board meetings for your bowling team and your fishing team, but that school pride. And we want to thank you for instilling that at MGM and for all the work that you do every day.
Thank y'all very much.
As a teacher and a coach.
Appreciate y'all having me.
Yeah. Well, that's all the time we have for Learning Leading Now. We'll catch you next time.